Lindsey, we're on an 80s roll of late.
I know, but I gotta say, like in particular this year, 1989, what in the world was in the water?
Yeah, 85 to 89, just action-packed, great movies. But we have another one today, and this is a movie much like Goonies that is beloved by many.
Yes, absolutely. Beloved by me.
I see you in your shirt. You're representing the merch from this movie that we're doing this week.
I sure am. Try and stop me.
I would not try to stop you.
You can't. You're too far away.
So we got a lot to talk about this week. As every week, we have a guest, and we're both excited about this guest to talk with about this movie. And let's get started on this thing and start talking about said movie. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Welcome to another episode of Die Laughing. Lindsey.
Yo.
I get a sense that you are very, very excited about this episode.
Why? What would make you say that?
First of all, this is an audio-only podcast, so you guys can't see the movie merch that Lindsey is wearing on her body.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Did you own that shirt previously, or did you buy it for this episode?
I owned this shirt previously.
What was the thought process behind buying said shirt?
My friend got it for me.
Because they knew you loved the movie so much?
Yep. I feel like that person who buys the concert t-shirt at the concert and puts it on and wears it during the concert. And I was always like, when I was a kid, I always made fun of those people. I was like, look at that douchebag that bought the concert t-shirt and is wearing it to the concert. What an idiot. And now I was like, I'm gonna wear my Burbs t-shirt when we watch the Burbs. What is wrong with me?
Perfect segue. And Lindsey, what is our movie today?
Oh, sorry. It's the Burbs.
It's the Burbs.
1989, the Burbs, Joe Dante, the whole thing.
Yes, sir. We can talk about this when we bring our guest on, but I watched this one late. I was thinking I watched it when it came out and then realized I didn't see it until it was on video a couple of years later when I was in college. So I was in a different mindset, and I wonder what my opinion of the movie would have been had I seen it when I was 13.
Right. Yeah. No, I've seen it all the way through. I mean, I saw it when it probably relatively shortly after it came out. And have watched it obviously 1,000 times, since then. When I was younger and I saw it, I thought it was kind of weird. I gained much of an appreciation for it as I got older. It was I feel like it's like Raising Arizona. When I first saw that movie, I was like, I like it, and I don't know why, and this just feels really weird, and why is John Goodman coming out of the ground, and so I've just gained an appreciation for the Burbs a little bit later. I didn't not like it. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me in tone a little bit of, maybe not in tone, but more in concept, to the, I think in either 1981 or 1982 Neighbors with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, which I fucking loved. Critics hated that movie.
Yeah.
But weirdo neighbor moves in next door, and what's this weirdo neighbor up to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of that. We'll put a pin in that.
We'll put a pin in that.
And we'll talk about that a little later.
Yes, sir.
Let's just go ahead and bring on our guest and get this puppy rolling.
Let's get this party started.
Because there's a lot to talk about in this. The guest today is somebody we worked with for, I don't want to even say times anymore because times sound, it hurts as soon as I add numbers up. I'm like, oh God, that was 20 years ago. And I hate that. Hate it. Anyway, you and I both worked with this person many, many, many times over the many, many, many years. Only two of you stay young, while I am the Dorian Gray who takes on everyone's years. And that is my lot in life. That's just the way it is. I've come to accept it. That's what I do. I age for you. Any hoozles. So this person that we're about to bring on, someone we both love dearly, worked with a lot of times, love working with her, love talking to her, just an absolute wonderful person. So tickled to have her on today's episode. And also talk about a new role coming up in her life that we're very excited about. But let's welcome on our guest today, Alicia George.
Hi. No, that's the best introduction ever, you guys. I love it. You think about how many years we've actually known each other, and that is very scary. But I love that we're all still together and friends and still working together.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I was trying to think about like even the first time I met you. I can't even remember back that far.
I can't either.
You've made me look good in every single in every single film I've ever done.
Good and bad.
And bad. That's right. That's right. You've made me look stunning. You've made me look like I'm 85. You've done all of the makeup on me.
I've made you look like a whore.
Correct.
I made you look like
Correct? You made me look like a whore for Bart.
I mean, technically, it wasn't for Bart. I wasn't.
I like the way that sounds though.
Alicia, would you do me a favor? Would you make Lindsey a hua for me?
Sure.
Alicia was a makeup artist on all of these films, like fucking every film I can think of that I've seen over the last 20 years in Memphis. It's pretty much been Alicia. And then you have went on over the last several years to take on different roles where just tell us about what you've been doing the last few years. And we already know because we talked to Joey Carr last week, but also tell us a little bit about the role that you have upcoming.
So yeah, I worked in film and TV for a very long time, but of course, with not as many things being shot in Memphis, and if I really wanted to work on movies, I had to travel a lot. My younger kids were starting school, and that kind of became more of a problem. So I kind of focused on just doing commercial shoots, short films, some weddings, and then I started fundraising with the Metal Museum. So for 6 years, I was doing fundraising for the Metal Museum's capital campaign. They're taking over the old Memphis College of Art building in Memphis and expanding the museum. So I did that. And then I started helping a few other nonprofits with basically fundraising videos and then kind of consulting with them as well on capital campaigns and fundraising. And so then there were some problems with Indie Memphis with fundraising and basically on about to shut the doors. They had taken a pause. And I don't know, I had felt like Indie Memphis really launched my career and most of ours. I've seen it launch so many young people's career through the youth program and just so many of my friends in general. And I couldn't see it close. And several people said, why don't you just take over Indie Memphis? Because they need some leadership and some fundraising. And so I had asked Joey, if I start a new film festival, I'm going to need your help. I don't know anything about programming really. He was also like, just, you need to talk to the Indie Memphis board and let's see what we can get going. And I don't know, it was an easy transition just because we already kind of knew everybody. I was already fundraising. And with Joey's help, it was easy to kind of come in and like, we can pick this up where it left off and go ahead and plan on having a festival in 2026. So we decided to be co-directors. He was going to handle all the operations side. I'm going to handle all the fundraising and outreach. And that's where we are today.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, it is in capable hands. And, like you said, all of us that owe a huge debt to Indie Memphis in our careers and exposure. Yeah, where we're all excited that you guys are continuing it on and wish both of you and the festival huge success.
Nobody better to run it besides the two of you for sure.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the Burbs. Alicia, when was the first time that you recall seeing the Burbs?
Last night. I literally was thinking, I know I've seen this. Surely I saw this, and I didn't. Like, the further it got into the movie, I'm like, I have never seen this movie before.
Yeah, you definitely would know.
I knew the premise, and I kind of knew there was a lot of famous people in it. And I remember all of that, but I was like, I've never seen this movie. So it was really fun to watch it and really, experience all of that now is ridiculous,
It was the first time I had seen it since about 1991.
Wow. What is wrong with you people?
I
I mean, this is gold. This is like cinema gold. All of it.
I'll tell you why. One of the reasons I picked it too, because I know this sounds ridiculous, but in the 90s, I loved So I Married an Axe Murderer. And for some reason, I'm like, Burbs kind of reminds me of that. And I love scary houses. That is something I really creepy thing that I love is like a haunted house, scary house.
He'll be crying himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow.
Harriet.
Don't even get me started.
So, Lindsey, we heard your experience with it. I think we were rolling when I said that I saw it like in college. I would kind of wish I'd seen it when I was younger, so it would have had the impact on me as a young teen and instead of someone in their early 20s. But before we get started, let's go ahead and let's just watch the trailer, and then we can chat about that after.
All Tom Hanks wanted was a quiet vacation at home.
This is what I need, Carol. I need this.
Welcome to Mayfield Place. A typical street in the Burbs.
Morning, Walter.
Where nothing much ever happened.
Walter's dog just took a dump on Rumsfield's lawn again.
Until the Klopeks moved in.
Klopeks? Klopeks.
Klopek. No one goes in, no one comes out.
Neighbors from hell.
It was a nice place to live.
He said he thinks the Klopeks are evil incarnate.
Well, you're much too smart to fall for that, aren't you, honey?
But now,
Carol!
you wouldn't want to visit there.
Ray.
This is Walter.
The Burbs.
I'm going over the fence, and I'm not coming back till I find a dead body.
Ray, do you want him to take your family, kidnap them, tear their livers out, and make some kind of satanic pate? We found Walter!
We got a real problem.
I hit the gas line, I'd run!
God, I love this street.
Tom Hanks.
I think we are overreacting.
No.
The Burbs. It's one hell of a neighborhood.
Hey, honey, I think we should move.
I'm sorry, y'all. That's hilarious.
My first thought was, when's the last time you saw a trailer and the voiceover mentions the actor by his name and not his character's name? Tom Hanks needs a new vacation. It's like, Tom Hanks does? Or Tom Hanks' fucking character that's in the movie? Tom Hanks does? How weird was that?
I think it's because they were probably capitalizing on big.
Well, definitely, but still, like from now on, anytime we see a trailer, like Liam Neeson has a beef with someone and he's gonna kill them. Like, no, that's not Liam Neeson that's gonna do it. His character is.
It's so good though. But that trailer is so good. There's some of the funniest lines in there.
Yeah, trailer's very well done, very 80s. I noticed there's a couple of scenes in the trailer that are not in the movie.
Correct. Yeah. Like Corey Feldman's line of, I love this neighborhood. That's not the take that they used for the actual film.
And there was a shot of Carrie Fisher sitting at a couch through the mirror. That was not in the movie either. So yeah, that's The Burbs, 1989, Joe Dante. Let's get started. How about?
Yeah. Let's do it.
So the movie opens on a suburban neighborhood at night. We see this man played by Tom Hanks. We'll just call him Tom Hanks. If the trailer's going to do it, fuck it. We're going to say Tom Hanks.
Yeah. We don't need Ray.
So he plays Ray Peterson, and Ray Peterson is awoken in the middle of the night by noises outside. He walks over to his side yard and looks over into the neighbor's front yard to see that the noises are coming from the neighbor's basement. Did you notice, like when we first see the house, it's not ominous at first, it's in color, and he just sees these glows coming from the basement. And then he looks around the neighborhood and sees another neighbor watching from across the street from a darkened bedroom window. It's a nice little atmosphere setup is what this, the beginning is. He starts to step into the neighbor's yard where he sees the glowing from the basement. But then the wind starts to blow and the house all of a sudden takes on all this ominous appearance. And there's this great wide shot from across the street framed by yellow and green leaves. So you see that there's green grass on Ray's yard and the trees are green at his yard, but then they've muted all of the colors in the house, the spooky house. So it's like almost black and white in the center of the shot where everything around it is in color. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite shot of the whole movie, and how he kind of puts his toes over onto that grass.
Yeah.
Even after watching the whole thing, I kept going back to that shot. It's really probably one of my favorites. And there's a lot of great shots. There's about 10 million dolly shots in this movie.
Very active Dolly.
It reminded me of The Awakening when the patients couldn't go past a certain line in the hospital. Like that's what it seemed like. Like his toes were right on the cusp of the property of the neighbor, and it's like crossing over the threshold.
Yeah, exactly. Like if he took one more step, bad things were going to happen.
Yeah. But then he stepped backwards over to his yard and like the wind calmed down and everything went back to normal. After this scene, we cut to the sunny suburbs. There's a boy on his bike tossing newspapers. Ray comes out to catch his newspaper, but Paperboy beans him in the sides and just keeps on pedaling, and Ray throws his coffee at him.
I can't, y'all.
I remember that scene, I think, more than any other scene. That scene and the crash zoom in and out when they're screaming. I remember those two shots more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you do not realize that Tom Hanks came from this type of world of comedy, then this is peak Tom Hanks humor. He is so good at just that. At just exactly that, not saying anything, but his gestures, his facial expressions, the way in which he does it. I mean, to me, he's an absolute comedic genius. Just that stupid little thing of him throwing the coffee, it is so funny, like just the way he does it. And that right there tells you exactly what this movie is.
Yeah, it does. The paperboy tosses the paper at another neighbor immediately. Walter, played by Gale Gordon. I always remember him as the crotchety old bastard from the Lucy show, the show after I Love Lucy.
Lots of pictures of Lucy in this movie.
Is there really? I didn't catch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of framed pictures in Walter's house of him and Lucy.
Oh, I'll be damned. I didn't notice.
One over the TV, one by the door.
Nice little touch.
Yeah.
Walter puts down his poodle and lets the dog run across the streets, where it takes a dump in a yard that we don't know anything about this yard yet, but it takes a dump. Ray, still standing on his sidewalk, yells good morning to Walter. Walter ignores him and then goes inside.
Is this the time where I get to tell you who that dog is?
Yes, definitely.
It's Precious from Silence of the Lambs.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's the same dog. Really?
That's probably one of the most famous acting dogs.
Listen, mister, I'm getting real tired of you. I got your dog.
That's fucking Precious. What year did Silence of the Lambs come out?
91.
91. I'll be damned.
You're welcome, everybody. That's fucking Precious.
I am not familiar with a lot of lore of this movie.
Thank God we have Lindsey here.
Who's a complete moron.
Enter Corey Feldman as Ricky. Ricky is carrying paint buckets to a porch, slopping paint everywhere. Joe Dante is not a fan of subtle things. Everything has to be like slopping paint, and paint drips all over the stereo and turns on this loud music. And then we cut to his neighbor, Lieutenant Rumsfeld, played by generational badass Bruce Dern.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Apparently, they offered this part to Gary Busey. He turned it down.
I'm so glad he did.
Thank God. Can you imagine?
Busey was too close to art, I think, and body type and character. I think it would have been a little confusing. So Bruce Dern, different physicality. Yeah, much better actor. At least post motorcycle accident.
Correct.
He was Oscar contender until he cracked that head on the curb, and then
Probably should have worn a helmet there, Gary.
probably should have worn a helmet. So yeah, Bruce Dern walks out onto his porch in shorts, no shirt, and a very bizarre green vest. Is this a Back to the Future vest? I've never seen a vest like
Yeah,
that.
I had a
Very-
Gary Back to the Future vibe on that one as well. It's first thing I-
Yeah.
Yeah.
His wife, did we ever get a name on his wife?
Bonnie.
So his wife Bonnie comes out.
Wendy Shaw. Inner Space. She was in Inner Space, too.
She was in Inner Space. That's right. I always remember they were always small roles that I would kind of like, hey, I remember her, but she's not so great that I want to know her name, what her name is.
And apparently, like, Tom Hanks was like, I don't really understand what she's supposed to be, like, doing in this movie. So apparently he like wrote everybody notes. Like they all had like a really great time working together. And he like wrote in her note, like, I still don't get what you're doing, but it was great working with you.
No, I loved her, and like she's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Just the fucking silly outfits and like what a kind of a dingbat she was, but she was really trying to keep everything together. I loved her.
I
in
did
this.
too.
Oh,
I did too. I'm
yes.
like, come on, Tom, don't give her a hard time.
For real. Oh, I loved her.
No, she was very good in this. And I always remember seeing her throughout my life. I just never could place her to one movie that stood out. So his wife, Bonnie, comes out. She steps onto the porch and hands a folded American flag to the lieutenant. I'm going to refer to Bruce Dern as the lieutenant from here out. I think that would be the best way to do it. He takes the flag to the front yard where he runs the flag up the flagpole. The lieutenant steps back to salute the flag and steps right in the dog shit that Walter's poodle, who I will now refer to as Precious, had dropped when it was running around earlier. So the lieutenant storms over to Walter's house. Cut to Ray is watching all of this from the window of his home as his wife, Carrie Peterson, played by the enchanting. And I remember as a kid, when the first time I saw Star Wars, I was 9, and finding her really pretty for a 9-year-old. But it wasn't until I became a late teen, early 20s, Carrie Fisher's fucking smoking.
Yeah.
I didn't get it until later as I grew up, that she's just a very beautiful woman.
She's gorgeous.
The haircut takes some getting used to in this, the mom haircut.
In fact, I kept thinking, God, she'd be so much prettier if her hair was better. But one of my favorite lines is at the very end where he keeps saying, did you get your hair cut?
Oh, it's so good. He's like, I really do like your hair.
I love your hair.
So apparently she wore a wig in the movie and it was exactly like her hair, which didn't make really a lot of sense to me. I was like, why did they do that to her? But she looks like that in When Harry Met Sally. That's exactly the same haircut, the same, all of it. So when she would go on breaks and she'd take the wig off, people wouldn't notice that she'd taken the wig off. I was like, why did they do that? What? I don't know. Anyway.
They don't have to keep cutting her hair for continuity if they shoot for 3 months.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of, this was shot during the Writers Guild strike.
And I found that really interesting that, they kind of rushed getting the shot because they knew the Writers Guild strike was coming.
Yeah. They had to really be careful. And apparently, I guess they shot everything in sequence just in case something would happen. And a lot of things were improvised. Tom Hanks improvised a lot of scenes at the end. Apparently, even there was some pretty famous lines from the movie that were just completely improvised because of that strike and the writer is in the film at the end, but he couldn't advise on the script at all. He couldn't say anything while they were filming.
Interesting. So Carol, Ray's wife, played by Carrie Fisher, is watching with him as they see the lieutenant yelling threats at Walter's house as Walter looks through the window and says, if your dog takes one more shit on my lawn, I'm going to staple his ass shut.
I love that line.
I do too. Bruce Dern seems like the type to me, I don't want to improvise. Give me the lines. Let me do the lines. And, you're not paying me to come here and write for you. Just give me the lines. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong about that.
Inside the Petersons' house, Carol is concerned that Ray is going to squander his vacation obsessing about the new neighbors that have moved in next door, the Klopeks. And she begs him to pack the car up and so they can go elsewhere and get away from the house. But Ray insists that a relaxing week at home is what he needs. Next, we meet the other neighbor, Art, played by Rick Ducommun.
I actually was like, who is this guy? He just seems like everybody else that we would know in any of these types of movies, like a John Candy type, but I didn't really know him either. So
maybe he's the poor man's John Candy.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got.
Ducommun. Yeah, that would be, unless it's Ducommun. We'll say Ducommun.
Hopefully we won't get sued by Rick.
Oh, I got more shitty things to say about Rick.
Yeah.
So next we meet another neighbor, Art, played by Rick Ducommun, who Rick started out as a stand-up comedian, had other kind of doofish guy, similar roles as Groundhog Day, which he played a drunk well. I'll give him that. So he was in several movies throughout the 80s and 90s. We see Art, he's in his backyard. He's walking around with a pellet gun rifle and sets his sights on a crow. A crow is sitting atop his fake owl on his fence, which I found funny. It's you put those fake owls out. I didn't know this until I moved to Seattle and had a crow problem and had to put fake owls out on my fence. So he's got this fake owl to keep crows away. The crow is just sitting on the owl's head. He tries to shoot the crow, misses, and blows the owl's head off. And then Art sees Ray and almost shoots Ray by accident.
Yeah.
I think he knocks out his porch light.
And then he proceeds to go in and eat all his food.
Yeah. Again, subtleties with Joe Dante do not exist.
No.
Yeah.
So he's joined the Petersons for breakfast and he's eating everything on the table. Even at one time, Carrie Fisher walks through with a bowl of potpourri and he reaches in and grabs potpourri and throws that in his mouth. And the whole time Ray is talking, he's asking if they have more food.
Goes to the fridge.
He gets a pineapple.
A pineapple and ribs.
Pineapple and ribs, yeah.
And meanwhile, there's actually kind of important dialogue happening.
Yeah, exactly. Carol asks Art if he's met the new neighbors, the Klopeks, and he says that nobody has, but we learned from Ray and Carol's son who walks in.
Dave. Who names their kid Dave?
Nobody. That he says he's seen 3 figures digging in the backyard through his telescope. And so there's 3 Klopeks. And Art tells them as he's rummaging through the fridge, getting his pineapple and his ribs, that the realtor had told him that their last house had burned to the ground. And then he sits back down at the table, continuing to just eat and eat and eat. I have issues with overeating scenes in movies.
Okay.
It doesn't make me laugh to see someone overeating. It just kind of grosses me out.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh at his overeating, and I remember the first time I seen it, just thinking, gross. It reminds me of the scene, the son slopping his stew in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. It's just like,
Oh, yeah.
dial it back on the slobbering and slopping. I don't think overeating while delivering dialogue is funny.
Yeah, I think that they're like, we want to get this point across. It's like you're saying, subtlety is not his thing. We're going to land the plane here over and over and over again so you'll know who this guy is as a neighbor, and doesn't even care. Like, but it, it does kind of establish it. I like it. You know me. I mean, I thought it was funny, and it made me laugh. And then enters Dave.
Dave, the actor, kind of reminds me of the son from Elf for some reason.
Oh gosh, totally. Yes.
Yeah, and apparently Tom Hanks was like, I don't want a son in this movie. I don't think I'm there yet in my career. Like, he didn't want to be seen as like a dad type. And so he suggested that he and Carrie Fisher just be like a young couple living in this home. He fought against being a dad in this movie and lost.
At that point in his life, he was afraid he was going to have a son. He was going to turn out saying things like, it's white boy summer.
Right. Yeah. But then ended up playing a dad a couple of years later,
Next, the Rumfields are gardening in their yard as the lieutenant starts obsessing about Walter again and the dog crapping in his yard. Ray and Art are standing outside of Ray's garage, and they spot someone step out onto the porch at the Klopeks house. And it's fucking Malachi from Children of the Corn.
Right? Who says what? 0 lines in this entire movie?
Yeah.
He starts speaking later, but for the first 30 minutes that he's in, he doesn't speak. Do you have that actor's name offhand? I remember him from
Courtney Gaines.
Courtney Gaines.
Mm-hmm. Hans Klopek.
He'll always be Malachi to me. And he's on the front porch just looking creepy, kind of looking around in a very Amish attire. All the neighbors start noticing one by one that he's out there. And Bruce Dern, as the lieutenant, says, one of the Huns has come out of the cave.
And I love that every time they show Bruce Dern, they do that patent trumpet thing. Like, almost every time they show him as a character, which makes sense because the guy who wrote the music for this also wrote the music for Patton.
Oh, I'll be damned. There is a song later that is taps, but it's not taps. It's almost like a taps knockoff, which I don't think you need to secure the rights to taps.
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
They're like, that's a bridge too far.
I just want to say about that scene that I can't believe you just breezed over the whole Corey Feldman looking at Mrs. Brumsfield's ass, and how he's, the husband is not even interested. He's more interested in what's going on with the neighbors than the fact that they're like having this whole flirty exchange about her tan line.
Right.
There's a scene a few minutes later where he finally realizes the kid is coming on to his wife and says, the neighbor is a meatball.
Yeah. He's a real meatball, I think is what he
I think this is a point in the movie as a viewer where you say, there's no chance Corey lives there alone, right?
I asked Billy that. I said, does he have parents? Like, what age is that his house? He's like, no, his parents are just gone.
Yeah, there's a one line they say about his parents being out of town.
Yeah, I missed that.
Oh, I missed it too.
It's in the middle of the film, so they make you wonder for a long time until it's just I think maybe it's Carol that says something about when his parents get back.
Oh, okay. So all of the viewings of this film, I have never caught that. It's like Art's wife at the end of the movie. Like, where's she been this whole time? But
exactly.
Yeah. So I didn't even, you just assume he's sitting there painting his house literally like the columns red. And you're like, what are you doing? And who's letting you do this? And he's having parties all the time and
drinking beer with Art later.
Right.
It's like, how old is this kid?
Right. And so it just feels kind of confusing in that way. This is also peak Corey Feldman, Michael Jackson era.
They kind of made me think, like that they just put his character in because they wanted, his celebrity, but it didn't really fit to me.
It was peak Corey Feldman overacting.
Yeah.
Dial it the fuck down. I had to look it up because to me, he was doing Keanu Reeves from Bill and Ted's. They both came out the same year, and I was wondering, like, did he see it? Was that edit finished first, and he got to see a copy? Because he is so, like, Keanu Reeves head shakes. Corey Feldman is great for bringing back that nostalgia, but he's a terrible actor.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, it felt very forced to me. I was like, is this necessary to even have him in this role? But whatever.
And the way he kept delivering his lines and always moving his hat around. That's why I thought maybe he'd seen Bill and Ted's before he did this. He was very happy to explore the space on this one.
Mm-hmm. And apparently Michael Jackson's famed chimpanzee Bubbles was on set quite a bit.
Are you shitting me?
Mm-mm. For the entire filming of it.
Bubbles was on set?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why didn't they just throw Bubbles in the movie?
I don't know, because he was hanging out with Michael Jackson at the time. So I guess they would come to the set, or at least he would bring the monkey to the set. I mean, it was weird stuff was going on with Corey Feldman in the 80s.
Yeah, he would have played a great, part in the Klopeks house. They totally should have just put him in the Klopeks and called it a day.
Yeah, and he was already like going through it. Apparently, like Joe Dante and a couple of other people on set had to like keep him from basically crashing and burning.
You and cocaine?
I think just everything. They were trying to keep him from getting into trouble.
Yeah, it's very strange. He's almost like the narrator,
Like a Greek chorus. Yeah.
but sort of like, you're gonna let Corey Feldman do this? Oh, okay, cool. Funny scene here as Art tries to chide Ray to go over to say hi to the new neighbors, but they're both too unnerved by the new neighbor and kind of just stand there arguing like kids, trying to dare each other to go do it. But then while they're arguing, the Klopek that's out on the porch, we find out later his name is Hans. He's just an unidentified person now. So Hans goes back inside. Art and Ray, after daring each other to go say hi, finally both walk up the Klopeks house up under their porch. Art steps through a board in the porch. That spooky wind kicks back up behind them as they're walking up there. And they bang on the knocker on the door, and it causes their address, which is 666, to fall, knocking over the porch light that's attached to the house and releasing a swarm of bees that are living in the rotten hole behind the porch light, sending Ray and Art running across the street over to the Rumsfeld's house, where the lieutenant sprays them with a water hose and gets the bees off of them. And then across the street, Ray's son looks on embarrassed of his dad, and he like walks out of frame like, my dad sucks.
Bruce Dern yelling like, run towards the water, run towards me. So,
I love that.
they're like on the ground rolling around. It's so fucking absurd, but they're so good at it.
Yeah, I did love that part too, Lindsey, where he's like, just run towards the water, run towards the water. And they're like running in circles, not towards the water for like a good solid, 2 minutes or whatever, as they're being attacked by bees.
Oh, and then Art opens his mouth and one bee.
And the bee's moving.
Yeah.
That's in his mouth. He spits it out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very well done. They
Mhm.
could have easily had a dead bee in there, but the bee is moving around.
Mm-hmm.
How they do that?
How you do
How
that?
they do that?
How you do that?
As Art, Ray, and the Rumsfelds are staring at the Klopeks spooky house, the lieutenant says, in Southeast Asia, we'd call this type of thing bad karma.
Y'all.
Yes.
They focus their attention to the Klopeks house again, and Corey Feldman is trying to do every possible body and facial movement humanly possible to tell Ray that the Klopeks could have accidentally left open the gateway to hell. Art tells the story of a guy killing his family with an ice pick, and that he would have never been caught if it wasn't for the heat wave that year that sent the stench of those bodies decomposing all over town. A lot of scenes like this in this movie. So a story that's unrelated to this story just to bring tension up. So I'm going to tell you about a story about a guy killing his wife, even though it has nothing to do with this story and will not come back in later except for a dream sequence. But we're going to use this story to change the music, build the tension, to give us a reason to have Tom Hanks as a scaredy cat. Because he jumps at the end and does the, my old Tom Hanks, go, that he does so well.
Right. I know he's so good at it. Well, I will say, though, it doesn't necessarily not serve a purpose, right? Like, I think that's part of kind of what this film is about, right? This, like, bored men are dangerous, or suburban paranoia, like, they don't have anything better to do than to sit around and tell each other these dramatic kind of like one-up stories. It creates and builds that tension within these people's minds throughout this entire film, right? So like hearing stories like that is kind of what helps tell the story of who's the real weirdos here.
But they do such a heavy job of making the family next door so weird and so obviously up to something that you go, well, obviously they're not going to be up to something because it's so blatant that they're up to something. Then we can't just have the rest of the movie being so blatant and then like, oh, they are up to something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But then there's an old switcheroo at the end, which is a pleasant surprise because it could have very easily have ended with just like you said, Lindsey, where they realize, oh, you know what? We're dangerous when we're bored. We're dangerous when we have outsiders, and maybe we got some thinking to do.
I have to say I was definitely surprised by the ending because I really thought it was going that route and that the Klopeks were actually some kind of unsung heroes. The police are like, he's a very respected pathologist. He's a very respected doctor. And I was like, oh boy. They were making a real fools of themselves. And then the line where it's like, just mind your business,
Yeah, they apparently shot like 3 different endings, but none of them worked.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I had totally forgotten that ending. I thought it was going to end with them just being benign and misunderstood. That was a pleasant surprise for me, too.
Okay.
Later, Ricky invites a girl over to his parents' absent home to watch the neighbors from his front porch. This becomes a shtick for the rest of the movie. He just likes to sit on the porch and watch the neighbors being those crazy suburbanites. And so he gets a couple of lawn chairs, sits on the front porch and his girlfriend, and they just start watching what's about to unfold. They see Art walk over to the Peterson's house, knock on the window where Ray and Carol are inside watching Jeopardy.
Which apparently that scene was improvised too.
But just them watching and with the dialogue they said while they were watching. It was weird. They were almost like they were collecting data to be on Jeopardy.
Right.
The way they were discussing it.
Carrie Fisher makes this kind of like joke, and you can tell Tom Hanks's laugh to her is totally Tom Hanks. It's genuine. He thought it was funny.
If someone can come up with some witty improvised dialogue, it's Carrie Fisher.
It's Carrie Fisher, y'all.
Now Corey Feldman starts narrating the action. Can I be honest with you guys?
Yes, go for it.
I hate Corey Feldman. I've always hated Corey Feldman.
I don't much like him either. There's not much to like about his acting. And then once you learn kind of like what he's doing now and the kind of person he's become, you're like, I think he was always really that person,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you were a Corey Haim or a Corey Feldman watcher, I'm going Haim all day. I mean,
same.
Even in like movies like Stand By Me, as much as I love that movie, even in The Goonies, I find I am annoyed by his character. And so it's like, is that how he is supposed to be acting because that's how the character's written? Or is Corey Feldman just really fucking annoying?
I liked him in Stand By Me, but in Lost Boys, he's the same thing. Way over the top, that character. Not as bad as in this one. It kind of fit in Lost Boys, but I remember when I first saw Lost Boys even thinking like, dial it back, Corey. Just come on. Stop it with the way he talked and everything. It's like, what? You're 16.
It must have worked for him, though, because people kept casting him.
No.
Sure.
First of all, how did he keep getting booked on everything? And this is such a terrible thing to say, but when a lot of those really great young actors that we did love started dying, I'm like, why them, not Corey Feldman?
I remember the wrong Corey died being said a lot when that happened.
No shit. I always thought he was so annoying. And same thing, I'm like trying to tell myself, this is just his character, but it's really who he is, like Lindsey said.
So I'll put my Corey hating aside for a second. We'll keep moving until his next annoying appearance. So he's watching the whole thing, narrating the whole thing from across the street. We now see the lieutenant is in his front yard looking at the Klopek house with an infrared telescope. So Art and Ray have joined the lieutenant in his front yard. A low frequency starts to build until it's this loud hum and the screech, and it's too loud, so everyone covers their ears. and they see the basement of the Klopeks house glow and become electrified. And then there's an lightning rod on top of the house. It lets out a spark, almost like a giant Tesla coil. And then the energy field winds to a just sudden halt and then stops. Then the Klopeks garage door opens and out drives the young Hans Klopek, and he removes a giant garbage bag from the trunk of the car, tosses it into the garbage cans on the curb, and starts beating it down with, I guess, a hoe, trying to stuff the garbage down into the trash can.
He's so angry about it.
So angry about it. It's the only emotion he shows in the whole movie.
Just the fact that he drove it 4 feet to the garbage can was my favorite. I'm like, this is my teenage son now.
Right.
When you got a dead body in the trunk, you do it with your lights off, and that dead body's pretty heavy.
And then he drives the car back to the garage, and it starts to rain on Art, Ray, and the lieutenant, and they decide that they will go through the garbage first thing in the morning at first light. So later that night, Ray is watching from his bedroom window as he sees 3 figures out in the rain in the backyard of the Klopeks house, digging giant body-size holes in the backyard.
Unbelievable. They're not up to anything.
No. The next morning, the garbage men arrive, played by Joe Dante veterans Dick Miller and Robert Picardo. They have been, good God, I didn't look it up, but my memory knows that they are in so many Joe Dante films.
All of them. Gremlins. I mean, just all of them.
The Howling. Yeah. And love Dick Miller. I've always loved Dick Miller. Just a great actor. So as they are loading the Klopeks trash into the garbage truck, Art runs from his house across the street, stops them, grabs the bag, and just starts dumping the garbage onto the street. And it's just normal garbage that's in the garbage. Again, Joe Dante and these subtleties. This is another one of those. We need to ramp up the
craziness.
So everybody do things really fast. So he's like, he's grabbing the trash, dumping it out. And Carrie Fisher again tries to get Ray to take the family out of town to go to their cottage, but Ray stops her. They argue, and their son Dave comes in and tells Ray that Art is dumping garbage onto the street. The lieutenant also arrives to the garbage truck to find Art's now sitting in the back of the garbage truck, continually just dumping garbage over his shoulder onto the street.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I watch as an actor, and I go, they are in a garbage truck, y'all. And like, I have a visceral barf reaction to that. How much did they have to clean that? But yet they made it look dirty. And here's the lieutenant half shaven. He's clearly in the middle of shaving. So half of his face is shaving cream. And I'm like, you're going to get trash. Stick on your face, a banana peel or something. I mean, it's like high tension for me watching this because it grosses me out so much. They are in the garbage truck. They're in it.
This was like shot on a back lot, and all of that, it's just like clean props that they've made look dirty. But I get it, Lindsey. It's still it's a mental thing, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But I tell you what, my favorite part is that the trash stays on the street through the rest of the movie.
I did like that touch.
Like, it stays there the entire movie.
They just drive over it.
Well, that's because the lieutenant pissed him off so bad, you know? I mean, they're like, who's going to clean all this up? And he's like, guess what? I pay your salary through my taxes. So you are. And I was like, nuh-uh. Nobody talks to the garbage man like that. First of all, nobody talks to Dick Miller like that. But definitely nobody should talk to their garbage man like that. Like, they are, God bless them.
Yeah, and they knew their names too. They're like, no, Dick, don't empty the trash, bro. Like, they're all friends, you know. I'm like, oh God.
Did you notice at the very end when everything goes down at the end on the street that the garbage men are there arguing over the trash cans? Did you see them in a wide shot?
Yeah, it's so good. I'm telling you, y'all, this movie is gold. It's gold.
So in a very mad world type of way, the lieutenant joins Art and jumps into the garbage truck with him and starts throwing garbage out of the back of the truck onto the street. This is that sort of tension's got to be high. So Ray bolts out of the door, running as fast as he can to the garbage truck while Carrie Fisher runs out screaming, Ray, come back, come back. It's cool, guys. We don't need everybody freaking out here. We don't.
You don't act like that every day in your neighborhood, Bart? I don't understand.
Ray, come back, come back.
That's how I run after Jackson when he leaves the house. I don't understand what the problem is.
I don't understand why Carrie Fisher was so concerned about him. Is I guess the whole, you're ruining your vacation.
Yeah, I think she was like, oh, now we're going through people's trash. You need to get away from here. You've lost it. You know?
Well, a funny scene, but also this scene needs to calm the fuck down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very old Hollywood where speed equals comedy. You know, it's like, we got to do it all fast and then it's funnier or it builds more tension. So everybody's dumping the trash and everybody's running to their marks. And during all of these shenanigans and more of Corey Feldman's terrible acting as he joins them looking around. Just next time you watch this movie, just look at Corey Feldman's acting while everyone else has dialogue and he doesn't. Keeps turning his head like, I need to keep moving. I can't just stand here and be wallpaper. Ah, Corey. They're all in this group together arguing, and the lieutenant's wife has Walter's dog. What's her name? Bonnie?
Bonnie.
So Bonnie now has Walter's dog.
Queenie.
It makes an enormously quick assumption that Walter has left town and accidentally left the dog out. Just immediately, that's her thing. He must have went out of town and he must have left the dog out. So that's the first thing you think of? You guys haven't even checked his house yet. So anyway.
Well, I was just going to say, he is obsessed with that dog. So if that dog is like out and Walter is not in the front yard, something's up.
It was weird because she was like, she's all dirty. She's all dirty and we don't know where Walter is and she's just wandering around. That was probably the best part of like, oh, there is something wrong, you know?
Next thing, all the guys and the lieutenant's wife, Bonnie, break into Walter's home because to return a dog, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But just break into it right away. The lieutenant breaks in through a pane in the window. So Bonnie walks into the kitchen, I guess looking for the dog to get some food for the dog. Screams because she says she sees a rat in the kitchen. They all run in, but it's actually Walter's toupee. It's on the stove, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's sitting on the stove. Ray leaves a note for Walter saying, I've got your dog, and puts it through the mail slot with his toupee.
But throughout Walter's house, you know, there are pictures of Lucille Ball and Gail Gordon. You know, there's one by the door. There's one on top of his TV because they've done a lot of work together in the past. So, yeah. And I guess it just is sort of like an homage to, you know, it's obviously this famous street on the Universal backlot where they filmed this movie, and you've got the Munsters house and the Leave It to Beaver house and the Desperate Housewives were filmed there. I mean, it's this very, very famous street, and obviously Gail Gordon worked with Lucille Ball a lot, so they just were like, we're just gonna amp it up since we know we're in this little famous lot.
Boy, he was so unlikable on that show.
Apparently people didn't love working with him on this movie. Like, apparently he kept to himself a lot. I mean, because he was kind of hard to get along with or work with.
Ray left the note and then looks up and sees at the upper window of the Klopeks house another family member. This time, the family member is played by actor Theodore Gottlieb, best known as Brother Theodore. Brother Theodore used to make appearances on the old Letterman show, the old NBC show. Fucking brilliant, hilarious, fascinating. This is a man who was deported from Switzerland for chess hustling.
No.
Immigrated to the United States of America with help from his friend Albert Einstein. Worked as a janitor at Stanford University when he makes it to the U.S. and was renowned for beating 30 professors simultaneously in a game of chess. And then created a cult following in the 50s and 60s for his bizarre and funny monologues. Probably, for people that don't know his brother Theodore and the work he did later, he's probably best known as voicing Gollum in the animated version of The Hobbit. But there's a documentary on him, highly recommend. I can't think of what the name of it is. Fascinating fucking life. I always think of this line that he said on Letterman once. I peered into the abyss peered back at me, and neither one of us were too happy with what we saw.
I did not know that about his past. I mean, it's funny you were saying that, and I'm thinking, where's the movie about this guy? And then you said there was a documentary. I'm absolutely going to go watch that. That sounds insanely fascinating.
Yeah.
The director started the documentary, and he died right after he started, and Gottlieb's family encouraged him to finish, and so he did finish. He got interviews with Dick Cavett and a bunch of other Penn and Teller. That's right. Penn and Teller got on board, and they said, yeah, we love Brother Theodore. Let's finish this documentary out. And so Penn and Teller helped him finish it.
What if they made a movie about him now and Tom Hanks played him?
That would be a coup, an absolute coup.
Just throwing that out there.
So yeah, one of the Klopek family members is brother Theodore. Ray waves at him, and then he just turns around and goes back into the house. Not a very talkative bunch, these Klopeks. In the basement of the Petersons' home, Art and Ray are arguing over the Klopeks as Ray flips through the pages of a book on demonology. And Art insists that the Klopeks are Satanists and that Walter was a human sacrifice. Upstairs in the bedroom, Ray pitches the Satanist theory to his wife, Carol. She scoffs, gets up to go to the bathroom, and leaves Ray flipping through the channels on the television. On the television, first, it's a clip from Race with the Devil. Then he flips the channel. Then he flips it to The Exorcist. And then he changes the channel again, and it's the scene of Leatherface bursting through the wall in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 into the DJ studio.
Yes. It makes me so happy.
How about this? So I didn't know this until we did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 episode. In both Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and in Race with the Devil is an actor named Jim Oh My Aching Banana Harrell. He's in both those movies.
No.
How about that?
Wow.
Just thought that was odd. An actor who was only in like a dozen films, and he happened to be in 2 of those films that were in the clips.
I love that, though. I love that series.
Yeah.
Of him watching those 3 films.
Like a lot of people, that was the first time they saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was that clip from that movie.
Was that clip from the Burbs. And I love, he just has this like blank kind of stare. The dog is very disturbed about the barf in The Exorcist, but he's going through such turmoil in his little suburbia cul-de-sac that like he's not fazed by these movies.
I know. I think he's like, I'm living this right now. This is going to be my life forever.
The next morning, Ray wakes up and Carol isn't there. He goes downstairs and is immediately met by a chainsaw blade going through the wall, and then cut to hooded, horned figures strapping him to a giant barbecue grill, and a very theatrical bevy of our cast of characters in these various undead scenarios. Art references the murderer who killed his whole family earlier. I thought that was funny. He says, it's a dream sequence. He's being the killer. And then he says, hey, Ray, it's actually me, Art, not the killer. It's like, totally unnecessary, but pretty fucking funny.
It was. I think it's so ridiculous. I mean, even in his dreams, he is the most absurd human, you know?
So as he's about to be burned on this barbecue grill, we see Brother Theodore say to him, mind your own business. And Ray yells, okay, in the dream.
This is the part I love, the mind your own business. I love it.
Next scene, he's sitting in bed. Now he's awake for real, watching Mr. Rogers as he sings, Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Which, I mean, come on.
Yeah. And Tom Hanks is even mouthing it along to him, won't you be my neighbor?
Right, but, I mean, come on, he plays him later.
That's pretty great.
You know?
Sitting on his upper deck, drinking orange juice, Ray sees that Art and the lieutenant are running over, and they have a plan. They say, come with us. But Carol then steps out like a mother, telling her son's friends that he's not allowed to play, says he's not feeling well, and he's going to have to stay in his room today. As the lieutenant says, please, Carol, let him come out. I mean, they even have them dressed like children. Their mannerisms are children. They're dressed like children.
It's so cute, and they're little, and he's so dejected. Bruce Dern is so upset. He like puts his hands in his pocket, and they turn around and walk away, and he even like looks back. I know it's over the top, and I get it, but that is why I love this movie, is shit like that. I just think it's like so great.
And then Art, when they turn around, he like kicks the dirt, you know, like, God.
Like, this is the only scene where the lieutenant's dressed like that, you know, but it's just for this scene to reinforce the fact that they're like kids.
Yeah, a total Leave It to Beaver moment or something.
Yeah. Art and the lieutenant sneak onto the Klopeks porch. They slide a note under the door. They ring the bell.
At the same time.
Yeah, they ring them at the same time.
We said, we promised we'd do it together. And then they take their little fingers and put them together to ring the doorbell. Y'all, I'm sorry. It's so good.
Sometimes Bruce Dern's character is a hard-ass former military guy, and sometimes he's a child, and he just fluctuates back and forth depending upon what the scene requires. A more cynical person would say these are tone problems. And I am typically a more cynical person, and I will call these tonal issues. These are tonal issues, which is a beef with mine throughout the film. It's like One scene, this guy's a hard-ass military guy. The next scene, he's playing a 12-year-old boy. All I want's a little consistency in our relationship, buddy.
GB Shannon, you and I are going to be fighting by the time this episode ends.
How do you know? How do you know? Just because I have a tone issue doesn't mean anything. I'm just pointing things out.
Listen, this is just a commentary about men, right? Most men are men and at the same time total fucking babies at the same time.
Yeah.
So it is consistent. It is tonally accurate. Am I right, Alicia?
Yeah, I was going to actually say the same thing. I'm like, this is very accurate. There isn't like a total difference or problem here. This is actually very accurate.
This is real life.
And Bart says, okay, boo. So they ring the doorbell. They agree to ring the doorbell together, and they do. And then they take off running like children to a ding-dong ditch, and they just run away. Art goes to Ray's backyard. He's napping in a chaise lounge. Art wakes him up from the nap, tells him what they did. While they're having the argument in the backyard on whether this was a good idea or not to leave the note in the house, this is classic early Tom Hanks ranting. Just pacing back. I love how he does. I'm sure there are montages of him doing this online in all movies, but he'll pace ahead 10 steps, then pace back, and there's definitely a formula to it. But I would love to see every one of them on a melt of just Tom Hanks ranting.
It's fucking brilliant, okay? It's Money Pit, it's Turner and Hooch, it's Splash, it's, God, it's like, I equate it to the Sally Field freakout, right? Every movie, there's a Sally Field total freak. I don't know. What happened? What'd you do? She told her herself, and then she stopped, and then she goes, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, it is literally the same thing. And I am obsessed with it because there are so few people who can pull it off and do it well. And I'm sorry, Tom Hanks is one. I'm just trying to sleep, okay? I'm just sitting here. I'm trying to sleep. I'm trying to get some other plate. I'm trying to get some goddamn plate art, you know? Meanwhile, he's sitting beside 4 empty beer cans, so no telling what's going on. But yeah. I love it.
I don't think it occurred to me till I watched this movie that Joe Dante is the Pixies of directors. Loud, quiet, loud. So scene's calm, immediate freak out to ramp tension. Everything's loud. Everyone's yelling. Purpose served. Back to quiet. We need tension or comedy to ramp up again. Everybody's screaming and freaking out. Back to quiet. But he's definitely the Frank Black of the film world. So Art and Ray are yelling back and forth about whether it was a stupid idea. Why'd you do this? A good idea, back and forth. And the whole time they're arguing, Ray's dog keeps fetching this bone and bringing it to Art. And Art absentmindedly keeps tossing the bone back while still having this argument. The dog brings it back. It's a femur. It's obviously a femur, and he hasn't noticed it yet. This is giant bone the dog keeps bringing back and forth. And then finally, as he's about to throw it, he looks down at this bone and realizes the size of it. It's just mammoth, and tells Tom Hanks, you know what this is? This is a human femur, and asks where Ray's dog might have dug this up. Camera shows us the hole under the fence that he had dug into the Klopeks backyard. And Art said, look, there's no hiding it anymore. They're chopping people up, and the looks of this femur, Ray, this is Walter. And here we get the two of them screaming in a Pee Wee Herman type crash zoom, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Probably, would you agree this is the most iconic shot in the whole movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. It goes on and on and on, just a little longer than maybe it should. And to me, it's perfect. The amount of time is perfect. But like, that's what makes it so funny, because it goes on a little too long, right? But oh my God. And the looks on both of their faces and the Tom Hanks scream freak out. Yes, it's the most iconic shot in the film. And boy, it makes me happy.
My favorite part of it is that Art gets distracted first by somebody across the street. So Tom Hanks is still screaming in the crash zoom. Art sees that someone's in the Klopeks backyard, so he kind of comes to out of the screaming and then has to tap Tom Hanks on the shoulder, and Tom Hanks literally like goes, ah, huh? And, like shakes to from his screaming to see what he's talking about.
God, it's so good.
Mint Tom Hanks is what that is. So across the fence, they see a shadow of someone on the other side of the fence in the Klopeks backyard. And you see a crumbled up piece of paper get tossed over to the fence into the yard. Art goes and picks it up, and he's saying, "What? It's probably just this. It's probably a receipt. It's probably this." And then he opens it up and he goes, "No, it's my note," which is what we knew all along. So now Ray knows that they think he wrote the note and that it was a threat. So now he's frightened by the situation. Carol finally calls all of the neighbors to the house to get them to stop acting like kids and to go meet the neighbors. She tells Art that he's not invited. So he's like, that's great. She goes, oh, you're not invited. So everybody but Art goes next door to meet the Klopeks. Bonnie makes brownies. They go over with brownies in hand. The lieutenant is now the person that steps through a plank on the porch and drops the brownies. They shatter everywhere. Doors answered by Hans, Malachi.
They want you too, Malachi.
They introduce themselves, but they quickly just walk in past him and invite themselves in the home. Bruce Dern offers him the floor brownies, and they go inside. So they're inside. Rumsfeld opens the door to the dining room, and then there stands Uncle Reuben, brother Theodore Gottlieb, who says to Ray, you are the one who lives next door, in a very ominous way. So the group sits down to chat with Uncle Reuben. Art has climbed over the fence into the backyard, into the Klopeks' yard with a shovel. Inside the house, Hans offers the group sardines and pretzels.
Oh, my God.
And they sit down and pass it around. Ray is the only one to partake of the sardine. Sound design's great in this movie.
It really is.
That was such a gross sound of crunch and squish with the sardine and the pretzel.
But even before he takes a bite, just his fingers squishing around in the sardine can. And like that goes on a little too long as well. Like he's trying to pick one up. It's just like, it just grossed me out so much. Ugh. That scene made me think they really are bad guys. It's just like the sardines and the pretzels.
Yeah, in fact, there was a scene that didn't really play, I'm going to say it again, tonally soon when Tom Hanks starts choking, because it's not that type of movie. That they want us to think maybe he'd been poisoned, but we don't buy that because it's not that type of movie. And it's already too, so he's obviously not going to be poisoned.
All right, I'll give you that one. That moment does not work in the film.
Like, I'm like, is he allergic to sardines or something?
That's what I thought.
What's happening here?
Okay, that moment may not work, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or I thought maybe he's so grossed out by the sardines, obviously. He's gagging and spitting it up.
But he does say it's the dust in the house that was making him sneeze. The lieutenant asks Klopek, what is that, Slavic? And the uncle says, no. And Bruce Dern says, hey, buddy, you're about a 9 on the tension scale.
Yeah.
The lieutenant asks if it's just him and his nephew that are here in the house, but Uncle Reuben says that there's also his brother, the doctor. And up from the basement, we hear footsteps as a shadow is cast across the hallway as the doctor climbs the basement stairs, steps into the living room, introduces himself, and it's fucking Henry Gibson.
Ah, I love him.
A poem by Henry Gibson. And he says, we have guests. Apparently, Henry Gibson was a fan of Theodore Gottlieb and fought for him to be in this movie.
Interesting.
So yeah, Henry Gibson comes in, he introduces himself, and he shakes Ray's hand and says, I thought he said, pardon my blood.
Because he has it on his hand.
Yeah, and then Ray looks at his hand and it's just covered in blood.
Yeah.
But now it's nighttime, the next scene, and Art is in the backyard. He sees a shadow pacing in the basement. Back upstairs in the dining room of the Klopek house, the doctor has made them all tea, and they're sitting around the table.
With 500 candles. What does he say to the ladies? I thought the ladies would enjoy the candles.
Yeah.
It's very romantic. Yeah, because it's very romantic.
Oh, my God.
They're literally sizzling.
He apologizes to Ray for getting the red paint all over him. And he says he was working on a painting. That was a little rude on the doctor's part, because it's almost like he had a cupped handful of red paint that he just slapped into Ray's. I mean, I think I would avoid shaking hands with me. I had that much paint in my hand. That's just me. He tells the group that his work has kept them on the move and that they have had 4 moves in the last 4 years. The lieutenant tells the brothers that their neighbor Walter has vanished, and Ray drops his tea. Another one of those amped up moments. Ray just, to make it a more tense scene, Ray just drops his tea. Go, shit, God, no, Tom Hanks. Tea all over me. No, I'm so sorry. I dropped the tea down. The lieutenant finally says, let's cut the politeness. What have you got in the cellar, Herr Klopek? So the lieutenant asks Ray to chime in, but Ray immediately says he has to use the restroom and runs to the restroom down the hall holding his junk like a child again.
Like, is he burned? Like, did he burn his wiener? What's going on?
I don't know. Ray says he's going to go to the bathroom. He runs down the hall. Instead of opening the bathroom door, he opens the door to the basement and outruns a giant Great Dane who bolts out the back door through the screen door. And the lieutenant says to the doctor, "You keep a horse in the basement?"
This is where Bubbles the monkey chimpanzee should have entered, right then.
Right?
He would have eaten half the actors' faces. So the dog chases outside, goes outside. The group all steps out on the back porch of the Klopeks house to see the dog chase Art to the fence. Art falls over the fence. The group says their goodbyes. And Ray, Tone, now all of a sudden Ray has all the confidence in the world in this scene. He was just a little boy holding his
wiener
ding-a-ling as he ran to the bathroom. And now he says, with great confidence, he shakes both the brothers' hands and says, "Let's do this again sometime." Did you notice that was odd how he switched from how nervous and scared he was inside? Now he's like filled with confidence. I thought that was odd. That was surprising when you said they shot this in sequence. There were several scenes that didn't match the energy of the last. And I thought maybe they'd shot this all out of sequence.
I kind of thought that maybe he had gotten a clue or had seen something where, he realized they really were onto something and that's where his confidence came from. But that was never really very clear either.
It's not clear until a little bit later when Tom Hanks explains, but I think that they should have clued the audience in on that.
A little soon. Yeah.
Like, there was clearly a shot that they just didn't use of Ray seeing, Walter's toupee that they just didn't use. And I think it would have served them better to use it. But
at the same time, he's a scaredy cat through the whole movie. So if he found proof that they were murderers, his character wouldn't have had confidence. His character would have been more scared.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. Well, it has
Tone.
Shh. But it has to come from somewhere, right? So, like, his shift into the next scene and the way he acts, right? It can't come out of nowhere. And so, for Tom Hanks, I'm sure he's thinking that was my aha moment to get me, like, I have got to solve this. I've got to man up and I have to solve it. And I'm sure if I were Tom Hanks watching the scene, he would have been like, well, that was my transition. That was my shot. That was the only shot you needed to be in there for my character to completely make sense, and you didn't put that shot in there. But okay.
Yeah, because the very next scene is they're at the Peterson's house, and the group is all discussing what they just saw. Art and the lieutenant are still in the They Are Psychos camp, and Ray is in agreement with his wife and Bonnie, and then he asks that the women step out so he can talk some sense into the boys, as he says. So, yeah, this is the character reversal for him. And you're right. It's like if there were a shot in there where he puts it all together, and maybe, I'm just nitpicking, but maybe it should have been not immediate confidence when he shook their hands, but almost like awkwardness. Like, okay, thanks for everything. We're out of here because I just found this and I need to share it with everyone.
And like maybe one shot or like the next shot of them walking to the house and him maybe behind everyone, piecing it all together as they make the walk back to the house or something,
Thank you, Joe Dante. So he says he's going to talk some sense into the guys. The women leave the room. Ray shows the boys that he's found Walter's toupee and he's been hiding it in his tiny little shorts this whole time next to his crotch.
The dialogue here, though. I mean, the shit that these men give their wives, right? I know we didn't talk about it earlier, but like, Ray is talking to Art and Ray's like, well, my wife said, when was the last time you did something your wife told you to do, And then in this scene, you have the lieutenant saying, well, why don't you just go dig your balls out of your wife's purse, basically, you know what I mean? And then Tom Hanks reaches up into his crotch and he's like, whoa, man, it's just a figure of speech, what? But yeah, the lines in this movie and the shit that they give their wives.
There's lots of little misogynistic things that happen throughout the movie when it comes to their wives.
It was the 80s.
I thought they were going to paint Carrie Fisher even more stereotypical at one point. I'm glad they didn't. I thought it was going to be like, I thought she was going to bust his balls one more time about being unreasonable there at the end, but thankfully they didn't. So then he shows them the toupee, realizes what's going on.
He said, that's been in your crotch all day.
Which it has been for an hour. The Klopeks mentioned that they were all going to be out because they may have to move again. They're going to be out the next day. So he says, tomorrow when they're away, we're going to go back over there, and I'm not leaving until I find a dead body. Nobody knocks off an old man in my neighborhood and gets away with it, is what he says. So he is now a revigorated, confident Ray.
Great lighting in that scene.
The next day, the Klopeks and the Great Dane drive away from the house. Ray talks his wife, Carol, into taking their son to see her sister for the day because he's going to go play golf with Art. Oh, Ray, how easily these lies come to you, the betrayal.
That's how it starts.
This is how it starts, Ray. Little white lies to your wife, and the next thing, you're living a total charade.
Oh, Art's outfit when she pulls out of that driveway. Oh, it just makes me laugh so hard. He looks like a moron.
Yeah, Art shows up in the driveway dressed in a 1950s golf outfit, multicolored, just to give her the indication that they are about to go play golf. And then the lieutenant walks out, and he's now in full combat gear. And then the very next shot, it's Ray, Art, and the lieutenant standing high-angle shot from the power lines. And now Art has changed out of the 1950s golf outfit into a maintenance guy's work shirt and hard hat. So he's now, from one scene to the next, has walked out of frame and then is in the next shot in a completely different outfit.
Hey, they had lunch in between, okay? They had sandwiches. Okay. They took a restroom break.
I'm surprised they didn't have some sort of costume for Tom Hanks to wear in the scene as well. So they could all be wearing bizarre outfits.
Would have been like full-on YMCA.
And they should have had him in the sweatshirt from Bachelor Party. That would have been a nice little homage.
It's probably like those kind of scenes make me think like what was happening in the makeup and wardrobe trailer. They come and they were like, no, I think we've gone too far. That's too much now. Like all the other ridiculousness. It's like, no, let's keep him very simple. And that's what I think about when watching things like this. Who made that decision?
I wonder if there was ever a conversation like, hey, do you really want him in this maintenance uniform? Because in the very last scene, he was in a 1950s golf outfit. It's like, yes, I do.
Yeah, wardrobe.
We certainly did have that conversation.
So Art is telling them that he is going to cut the power to their house. That's a little destructive for their plan now. All of a sudden, they just like cut power to the house. So he's going to cut the power to the house. He climbs up the pole. He clips the wire, and as we all expect, he gets electrocuted. We wouldn't be having the scene if it wasn't for him to get electrocuted. He gets electrocuted, knocked off the pole, crashes through Ray's shed.
Which that sound cue is a bowling ball knocking a strike.
Right on. He clips the wire. He falls. The lieutenant heads to the roof of his house with a sniper rifle as Corey Feldman is again aping as much as he can and trying to steal as much of a scene as he can from his front porch. He yells to the lieutenant why he's got a gun, and the lieutenant says, shut up and paint your goddamn house. I laughed out loud at that. Shut up and paint your goddamn house.
Because he's like, Bruce is probably not acting.
Probably not.
Please, shut up.
You've gotten too many lines already, kid. Ray and Art start digging in the Klopeks' backyard, find nothing. So they decide to go in the house. Actually, Ray's digging. Art is just being lazy, and it's almost like Art has no redeeming qualities.
Almost.
It's almost like. So Ray now again suddenly gives no fucks with his newfound confidence and smashes a window pane in the door to break into their house. So now they've cut the power to these people's home, and now they're breaking and entering. And inside the house, they head to the basement. The lieutenant has set up shop on the roof as more of Ricky's friends show up to watch the shenanigans. One of them, his friend that has the dialogue with terrible hair, is Nicky Cat.
Yeah.
And Nicky Cat, probably best known for a shit ton of great 90s movies like Richard Linklater's Suburbia. Which Suburbia? But he was in Burbs and Suburbia. How about that? Sin City, Doom Generation. A lot of people from a certain age would know him from Doom Generation and Way of the Gun. Unfortunately, in 2025, he killed himself.
Isn't that awful?
That's terrible. Very sad.
That's terrible.
I always thought he was a really good actor.
Yeah.
And in this with very wavy 80s blonde hair. Terrible hair. Back in the basement, Ray and Art fire up the modified furnace, this massive furnace that they have in their basement. And it shoots a blast of flames out of it, and they shut it off. And outside, Nikki yells Rumsfeld's name, and it startles him, causing him to fall off the roof with the rifle. And he lands on the ground, and the rifle shoots a neighbor's car. Again, created just for, let's ramp this tension up. He's got to fall off the roof, and we need some crash, bang, booms. And so he smashes the window. The car alarm is going off. Cut back to the basement. Ray has decided the giant furnace is to burn bones of the dead bodies, and he's decided to dig up the basement, saying that the basement is where they're going to hide the rest, but they burn the bones, so we got to dig up the basement. So he starts digging a massive hole in the basement. Cut to nighttime.
Mm-hmm. By the way, when they get down to the basement, there's a sled that's got Rosebud on it.
It's funny.
Yeah, I love that.
The Klopeks return, and they see a glow coming from their basement, so they back their car back down the street and leave. And in the basement, Ray has now dug like a 5-foot hole, claiming that he's found something and he's hit metal. Outside, a car arrives at Walter's house, and the passenger is helping Walter out of the back seat as Art steps out on the front porch of the Klopeks house and sees that Walter is indeed not dead. And then the Klopeks show up immediately after that with the police. So everything's hitting the fan at breakneck speed.
Mm-hmm. And Corey does such a good job of distracting the car and the cops. He really nails it. He really, thanks.
He just runs and jumps on the
good
car.
job. Good job, Corey.
Way to go, Coors. In the basement, Ray hits a gas line, and Art runs back down to the basement just as he does that, and he says, "We lit a gas line, get out of the house." Then we cut to a shot of the front porch. Art runs out of the house just as the house blows up behind him. The house just explodes, ball of flame. Everyone assumes that Ray was killed inside, but this ain't that kind of movie. Then Ray stumbles out of the house, charred and stunned, as the porch behind him collapses. Great shot. Just like steps right off the porch, and then the whole porch just falls.
Yeah, it really is a great shot. And his face, God, what he looks like such a mess. It's awesome.
Carol arrives from her sister's house to see that the street is filled with people and the Klopeks house is on fire. She finds Ray, who's now had his head bandaged everywhere but his mouth and one eyeball. And he's being escorted by a cop who has no dialogue. That cop is played by Ron Howard's father. What's his first name? I always blank on his first name.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, Ron Howard's dad. So the next shot, Walter is on a gurney getting oxygen while there's a quick camera pan from the oxygen to Walter, and you get a very brief, uncredited cameo from Forrest J. Ackerman. Forrest J. Ackerman was a friend of Joe Dante, but best known as the editor for Famous Monsters of Filmland, the magazine that nurtured and expanded all of our love for cinema when we were kids. It was my favorite magazine when I was a kid. He makes a cameo in The Howling. He makes a cameo in maybe Inner Space.
Yeah,
There's
maybe,
another Dante film that he makes a cameo in. But he was the man. He was, how about this for three friends? Ray Bradbury, Forrest J. Ackerman, and Ray Harryhausen.
Oh.
They were three best friends. But yeah, I had to look it up because I couldn't find any mention of it. And then I froze it and I was like, oh, it's Forrest J. Ackerman. Yeah, it is him. The very next scene, a detective played by Franklin Ajayi, who, as we said off camera, the only black actor in this entire fucking movie, which, come on, folks, it's the 80s. Franklin Ajayi had his moment in the 70s with movies like Car Wash, Stir Crazy, and The Jazz Singer, all which two of those three had Richard Pryor in it. And he started as a stand-up comedian, always solid in everything he's ever been in, and just enjoyable place. Great in Car Wash.
Yeah, he's really awesome.
No, I thought he did a great job. And I think that's what struck me when I said earlier, too. I was like, finally, a black person in this movie is the only one. But then, like Lindsey said, it was so perfect because they were just a bunch of crazy white suburbanites. And the person coming in with reason would, it was really perfect.
Yeah.
Ron Howard's dad explains all of the charges that Ray now faces, breaking and entering and destroying their home and kidnapping a dog, with the misunderstanding of the note. And The gang is still arguing, and Art is still yapping to the cops about there being bodies in the backyard. He still insists on it, even though Walter is fine. And Ray finally snaps, stands up to Art, one of half a dozen Tom Hanks freakout scenes, just yelling and yelling and yelling, all charred. And his rant culminates in him attacking Art, and then climbs back into the ambulance with the gurney, drags the gurney up into the ambulance, and then climbs into it and says, I'm sick. I'm sick. I need to go to the hospital. And Carrie Fisher says, when they know what hospital, just let me know and I'll follow you to the hospital. You can tell she's almost like, I don't believe it. He's burned.
Right.
He needs to go to the hospital for that alone.
I think she was so very much like, I knew this was coming. It's fine.
Yeah. But it is, I love that rant that he gives because it is so true. Like, who are the crazy ones? We've been chasing these poor people around, and we're the ones that are spying on them. We're the ones that are doing all of this, and we're the ones with the crazy imaginations. We are the ones. It's us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically saying we thought it was them that are the bad guys, but we're the bad guys.
Yeah.
So he's in the back of the ambulance waiting for, I guess, them to drive him to the hospital.
And it's my understanding that he improvised a lot of just that last bit, right? Him picking up the thing and putting the gurney in there. I mean, I think that was just all Tom Hanks.
That was pretty priceless. He throws the gurney up into the ambulance and then climbs into it and buries his face in.
And his foot keeps going like down and then back up and then down. Like he can't get comfy on the gurney.
Dr. Klopeks climbs into the back of the ambulance with Ray, and he asks, do I look like an idiot, Mr. Peterson? You may have fooled the others, but you don't fool me. And he says, you were in my basement. Surely you looked in the furnace and you saw one of my skulls, didn't you? And so we realize they were right all along. He then gives Ray his whole confession, basically. As he puts on these surgical gloves, he says he killed the previous neighbor named Knapp. He offered to buy it, but they declined, so he murdered him. I think he suggested maybe he stole Knapp's skull. He pulls out a syringe with green liquid in it and says, perhaps I'll take your skull to replace Knapp's, and then calls for his nephew, who is now behind the wheel of the ambulance, to drive away. His nephew, Hans.
Yeah.
Malachi.
A struggle ensues over the syringe. Ray grabs Hans's shoulder, causing him to lose control of the ambulance. The ambulance crashes into the front of a house, driving up on the porch all the way into the front door of the house. We don't know whose house it is yet.
It's a great shot, though.
It is.
Great shot. It basically just launches itself into the front of the house.
Yeah.
The gurney rolls out of the back, and Ray and Dr. Klopeks are now on the gurney as it rolls down the street as they're still fighting
such a great
with the
shot.
syringe.
It's such a great camera
Yeah,
shot.
the camera is mounted on the gurney, so it's a really tight shot of them. You see everything flying by on the street around them. The gurney rolls out, and Ray and Dr. Klopeks continue to struggle. Ray grabs him, throws him against the car, and announces a citizen's arrest of Dr. Klopeks. Now Carol thinks Ray has totally lost it as he's trying to convince everyone that the doctor confessed to him in the ambulance, but nobody's buying it. Ron Howard's dad says, you don't have any evidence to prove he killed your neighbor. And just then, Corey Feldman is standing next to the Klopeks car, whose trunk is now conveniently flopped open. And he pulls a blanket back and says, we do now. Inside the trunk, there are about a dozen skeletons.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's like hundreds of skulls.
Where were you going, guys? Where were you going?
The trunk of skeletons and skulls is lit very well. I'd like a Halloween decoration like that.
Yeah, it is.
So that not only do they come with dead bodies in the trunk, but proper lighting to make them look spooky. Ray tells Carol, well, first the lieutenant sees Hans trying to escape, runs across the street and tackles him. That was a cool shot. So Hans slips in the yard first, and then the lieutenant slips.
And goes underneath it.
But slips into a perfect trip of Hans and trips him on top of him and grabs him.
And also, why is he dressed like that? He says, hey, Pinocchio, where are you going?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? I don't understand. I think
He's dressed in German lederhosen.
Pinocchio, he says. I mean, I guess I get it. They're, I guess, German or whatever. But, like, also, what's going on? Where are you going?
Was he wearing that when they arrive? I don't remember if he was when the scene previously when they arrive in the car, if he was wearing it.
Right, like when he was driving. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch. But he's like, hey, Pinocchio. And he, like, turns around. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's he doing?
He's got the little shorts on and the suspenders.
And the little hat with like the feather in it or
Yeah.
something. And like, oh, that's so weird.
We skipped the part about when Carol shows up, he says, you got a haircut. I like your haircut.
Oh, yeah.
I
we
mentioned that
talked about
earlier.
it
I love how he asked her like a couple of times too, because he's very out of it, you know.
Has she gotten a haircut since she left, or is he just now noticing the haircut she's had all along?
I don't think she's gotten in their haircut. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do like your hair.
I thought maybe I was just being a dude and didn't notice they trimmed it a little bit. But no, he's just so absent-minded. It's almost like this fear has been released and now he sees and appreciates things in life, and he appreciates her haircut that he'd never complimented before. Right? That's what we're saying?
That's what I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She makes mention of it before, I believe. It's like the mention of Corey Feldman's parents being away, right? There's a small mention of it before, which is why it comes out of nowhere when he looks at her with like one good eye and says, I really do like your haircut.
Yeah.
But it's still funny. It still made me laugh.
It's like him suddenly realizing how much he appreciates having her as a wife.
Right. With all of this mayhem going on the street, the ambulances and fire trucks and cops are still there. The house is still on fire. All the neighbors are out. We get another shot of the garbage man arguing over a can of garbage. Ray tells Carol he's going to pack a bag and they're going to go to the lake. And Carol and Ray are walking towards their house while Art follows behind them like an annoying child, telling them, hey, where you going? Geraldo Rivera's going to come excavate the basement.
I died. Oh, Geraldo. So good.
It's going to be on satellite.
Yeah, because we all remember that. Yeah.
The lieutenant and his wife yell to Art that his wife is now home.
No. He says, Art, your house is on fire and your wife's home. And he goes, my wife's home. He doesn't care that his house is on fire.
Yeah.
He cares that his wife is home.
And that's when he says that he turns to look at the house and we see the house. It's his house now with the ambulance crash through it, and it is completely in flames as well.
And his wife with her luggage is sitting in front of the house. What?
I never saw her. I kept looking for her. She was in that shot?
Yeah, she's totally in that shot. He's running towards, oh my God. And she's like, with her luggage. Who knows where she's been.
Was she anybody we'd know? I didn't see.
No.
Also, I might have missed this. I've been meaning to ask you guys, why does Art not go to work every day? Like Mr. Rumsfeld may be retired from the military. What is Art doing? Why is he home every day?
Yeah, because there's a line he asks Ray earlier, like, what are you doing home from work? And he says, I'm on vacation, but he never asks Art that.
Art doesn't work at all. His
his
wife's out of town on business. It's like Mr. Mom,
After he says that about my wife's home, Ray tells Ricky walks up to Ray and Carol, and Ray tells Ricky to keep an eye on the neighborhood while he's away. And Feldman.
And y'all didn't laugh at that? Yeah, he's got one good eye. And he says, keep an eye on on the neighborhood. It's funny. He only has one good eye, and so he needs help keeping an eye on the neighborhood.
I would not have read that into that, Lindsay, but okay.
Well, they meant it. I hate you. I hate y'all.
He says, keep an eye on the neighborhood while I'm away. And Corey Feldman agrees. Carol and Ray walk out of frame. Corey Feldman looks at camera and says, God, I love this street. End of movie. They saved Corey Feldman breaking the fourth wall for the last line of the movie.
Oh, my God. Pauly Shore auditioned for that part, which would have been more annoying.
Yeah, that's a tough call because Corey was trying to be his most annoying, so it's hard to say.
Wow.
And there you have it. That's the Burbs.
That's the Burbs.
Got through it. I love it.
So what we typically do, Alicia, Lindsay has 3 questions that she'll ask if there's anything it kind of covers anything we missed. And fire away.
So now the fire away. Yeah. No, these are fun. These are fun ones. So we have kind of some signature wrap-up questions. One is around a comedy horror meter. So I have a feeling I know where this is going to land. On a scale, and it's like 80-20, 90-10, 50-50 on a scale from kind of straight up horror to full on comedy. Where does this one land for you guys? I know.
Oh God, it's just full on comedy. There's like not even a 10% chance. This was horror for me. So
Yeah, it's 100% comedy. I mean, I understand the horror elements that you're trying to do with the house and the neighbors and the skulls I mean, I guess because of some of that element and suspense, you could maybe say, okay, 2%, maybe 5% if you're generous, but basically it's 100% comedy. So
I agree. 100% comedy. I think this is a horror comedy in the same sense that a movie like Nothing But Trouble is a horror comedy, which you remember that movie with Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd, and which I found enjoyable. I used to watch it with my daughter a lot. It's a very weird, odd, atmospherically spooky. The characters are weird. So it's a horror in that sense. And I think it's also a horror in a sense that To Kill a Mockingbird is kind of a horror, though I find To Kill a Mockingbird to be more spooky than this and those nighttime scenes around the Radley house. But these scenes around the Klopeks house did remind me of scenes around the Radley home.
yeah, that's a good call out. Yeah, they were pretty similar. But yeah, I mean, it's basically 100% comedy.
If we're not allowed to choose 100, then I would say 99 and 1.
yes.
This one may take a little bit more brain power if you hadn't thought it through, but so this one is kind of elevator pitch. So if you were trying to get this movie greenlit or just you wanted to convince a friend to watch it, what's your elevator pitch? What's the hook that kind of sums up its chaos and charm in one or two lines?
For me, I think it would be like, let's watch a great 80s movie where Tom Hanks, he's very young and you kind of start to see where all of his weird acting quirks come in. And I just think kind of seeing some of those people, Carrie Fisher, in their early careers is really fascinating to me.
Bart, what do you think?
I think I'd say it's an Imagine Joe Dante comedy that is a traditional Tom Hanks vehicle with some spooky elements and a terrible performance by Corey Feldman.
Yet another terrible performance by...
I won't know that much. I think even mentioning Corey Feldman would make me be like, I'm not interested.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, so many of the movies he's in are so darn good, so...
Yeah, I know. This movie is a pop culture Easter egg searcher's dream, in a sense that you were talking about the Lucy photos, things like that. And especially, I mean, I fucking didn't know it was Precious, the same dog. Those are gems that are just waiting to be discovered by someone who's never seen this movie and will discover it. What would your elevator pitch be?
So mine is basically a Rear Window in a cul-de-sac, but everyone is an idiot and Tom Hanks is slowly losing his mind in the driveway.
In the driveway.
You win.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. There's so many little nuggets. And then when you start to really dive into some of the research of this film, just given the universal backlot and the famous street that it's on and these houses that are used over and over again, and then you hear stories about Fletch Lives being filmed in the lot next door and they're having to call cut because they're, trying to deal with sound bleed. So just some other fascinating things like that, just knowing where it's filmed and how it's filmed and just this famous little cul-de-sac. It's just fun. But yeah, it's basically Rear Window in the 80s.
You're right. Good point. Never thought about that until now.
Okay, so the last question is recommendations. So would you recommend this movie to everyone or only to a certain kind of fan? What's the right audience for the Burbs?
I do think anyone can watch this movie. So you could recommend it to anyone. I think anybody would think it was funny and silly and whatever, but it does suit a specific genre of people for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys know where I'm going here, so I'm just going to say it. But I'd recommend this film. I would recommend this film to everyone. I'm like, you guys, it is a cult comedy. It is not a horror. But the right audience is someone who loves 80s movies. Joe Dante, complete weirdness. if you love Tom Hanks, you have to watch this movie. And adults behaving like complete lunatics. I mean, I think it's hilarious from start to finish. Do I think that everyone would love it? No, but I would still force them to watch it.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend this movie to people who, and I know this word is going to come across as an insult, but I don't mean it as an insult because they're just different types of movies. I would recommend this to people who enjoy broad comedy. Like when it comes to weird neighbor movies, I prefer Neighbors with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. Really weird, creepy film. So yeah, I would recommend to people that like 80s stuff and like seeing actors in their younger days. But I caught this movie at the wrong time in life. Had I seen it when I was younger, I think I would have liked it a lot, much like Class Reunion. Class Reunion, obviously this is a way better movie than Class Reunion. I'm not comparing them.
Thank you.
You bet. I'm not comparing them in that way. It's just like we appreciate things based on a certain age. It catches us at the right time or the wrong time. This caught me at the wrong time. I was in my early 20s and I was only thinking about women at this point and what I was going to do with my life. And it didn't resonate with me because it felt like it was for kids.
No.
And I'd already aged out of that. Had I seen it when I was a kid, I'd have fucking loved it. I would have loved it more than I'd loved Class Reunion, which I liked because I saw it when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I love it. And I'll
check out Neighbors, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd if you want to see a really fucked up, weird, very flawed, weird neighbor movie.
Yeah, well, that's it. Those are our signature wrap-up questions.
That's the Burbs.
That's the Burbs.
I love it. Thanks, guys.
You made it through. How do you feel?
I feel good. It really brought up a lot of great memories when, like I said earlier, I loved So I Married an Axe Murderer. And back, just like you said, Bart, if I had watched this back then, it would have been in that, class for me. And I would have thought it was even more hilarious. But I'm super glad I watched it. And it felt very going down memory lane. So,
yeah. I do wonder what they're going to do with the new one. And it's come out, right? Hasn't it come out?
Yeah, it's already out.
Yeah. Keke Palmer's in it. Obviously, Brian Grazer. Seth MacFarlane is an executive producer on it, which is why, Wendy Shaw is the voice of the mom in American Dad, is basically because Seth MacFarlane loves the Burbs.
I'll be damned. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm. And it's also on that Universal backlot where the original was shot. So they're using the same location. So I'm curious to see kind of how it's done. The poster's great.
I had a wonderful time. I always enjoy getting to talk about these movies with you fine people.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me. It was such an honor. I love it.
Yeah. Thanks for spending your afternoon with us. You're awesome. We really appreciate you being on. We love you so much.
Thanks. I love you guys.
Yep.
See you.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this. It was a wonderful time and so good to see your face and get to chat with you.
Anytime.
Thanks, Alicia. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Alicia.
You know what? I love her.
I do too.
She's one of my favorite humans because it is so fun to laugh with her, Like she's just so genuinely kind and happy. And I feel like she's one of those people that I could say the dumbest thing to and she would be like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And so it's fun being around her and watching her laugh because her laugh is so great and so genuine and her smile is so beautiful, but man, she brings me joy just being in her presence. She's such a kind and sweet soul.
Yeah. And hadn't seen her in a while, so it was an absolute pleasure to get to sit down and talk with her and see her face.
Next time where the three of us are together in public, I'll do my Alicia George impression. It's pretty spot on.
I cannot wait to see that. Do you have one of me?
No, but I'm sure I could come up with one though, probably on the spot.
I used to have impressions of all of my friends, and I guess I have a knack for picking the one thing that they're insecure about because they never go over well. So if you do have an impersonation of me, just keep it to yourself because I'm too insecure to. I remember a friend of mine doing an impersonation of me in high school, and it was just me rubbing my hand through my hair going, fuck. Fuck. I do tend to wig out over small things.
Do you Joe Dante things?
I do. I totally do. I can't believe, first of all, that we're into May already.
I know. It's amazing.
And we're heading straight into the summer. You're about to be an empty nester.
Mm-hmm.
We already have a couple of shows lined up on the calendar. And until next time, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it again. This was a fun one today, and I know we're going to keep it rolling.
Same here. Enjoy your week.
You too, friend. Bye.
Bye. All music for this podcast is provided by MKE. To hear more of his music, visit his band's website at detectivemusic.com and Detective on Spotify.